Everyone, we're joined by Wisconsin head coach Mark Johnson and student athletes Cami Cronish and Kirsten Sims. We'll start off with questions. We'll start off with a statement from coach, and then we'll go to questions for the student athletes. We'll let you have your
Appreciate that. I'm not sure what to say right now, but trying to process, what transpired in the last couple hours. But just real proud of this group from the standpoint that, there were some challenges this past season. There were some hurdles that we had to get over collectively as a group. Individually, the same situation. So it was a challenge. It was difficult, but the last 5 or 6 weeks, we figured some things out and really became a tight group. And I think our play the last 5 or 6 weeks showcased it. And I felt good about today's game. We were in a good space. That didn't mean we were going to win, but I felt really good that we were in that space that we needed to be, and then it was just a matter of what the game was going to look like. And so I watched it, you watched it, and managed it as best as we could. And if you're going to win these type of games, your goaltender has to play well. And I'm just really happy for Cami. She spent a lot of time watching, improving, getting better. And, when she got on the big stage, she showed everybody that through hard work and determination, waiting for my opportunity, good things can happen. So for her and the rest of the team, I just, nothing but good things to say today.
Cami, can you process Mark talked about processing this, but for you especially, fifth year here, you've been part of this, but you've never been on the ice at the end for it like that. What the season, I guess, really has all meant to you, knowing where it started and where it ends?
This is going to take a few days to process. It doesn't feel like real life. But yeah, looking back at the start of the season, just seeing how far we've come as a group, it means everything to me and all my teammates. We stuck together through the hard times, and we knew that we could do great things. So, we're all just on top of the world right now. But yeah, it just shows the true strength of our character, and, I'm so proud of everybody.
I guess this can be for either one of you. But last time, obviously, when the team faced Ohio State, they scored those 3 goals in the final 5 minutes and kind of snatched a potential win from you guys. What did it take to close this one out? Can you both address that?
All that stuff from the regular season doesn't matter. Like, the playoffs are a completely different thing. And, looking back on that, yeah, I thought we played a better game and we deserved to win. But, stuff happens. And today was just, a clean slate, a new game to prove ourselves, and I think we went out there and did that.
Yeah, like she said, it's playoff hockey. It's a completely different type of game, and we just kind of went out there, had confidence, believed in each other, and stuck through it the whole 60 minutes.
Cami, that last stoppage, you were standing in the goal with your hands on your head. What was running through your mind?
I cannot believe this is my life right now. Like, oh my God, I think about the past 5 years and the people I've played with. Like Kristen Campbell, Kennedy Blair, all my goalie partners, Bree Blessy, like these people that helped make me to the goalie I am today, the person I am today, and it's not real life. Just so thankful for everyone and everything that's been a part of my journey. So yeah, I was just in disbelief.
Cami, we talked to Coach after Friday's game and such about your progression to taking over as the number 1 goaltender this year. When did you kind of feel confident that was your net? And when did it start sinking in that, yeah, I'm the goalie who can take this team possibly to a national championship, or at least on a deep playoff run in the postseason here?
I think sometime in January we played Mankato, and I played both games, and that's when I was kind of like, okay, like, I think I can do this. I know I can do this. Like, this, I feel confident in myself. And then even though we had like a really hard stretch in January, like I didn't feel discouraged. I don't think like any of us felt discouraged because we knew we were playing well. Just things weren't working out for us. But yeah, I would say sometime around that point. And then we just kept rolling from there. So yeah, I don't know, just like a collection of games throughout the whole season that helped me feel really confident.
Kirsten, can you take us, through your goal, why you think it worked, and the effect you think it had just on your play and maybe even your teammates?
Well, honestly, it started from my two line mates off the forecheck. They got back pressure from the blue line, threw the puck back in, just happened to end up on my stick, and took the shot when I saw it. Obviously, brought the energy up for our team, got us a little bit more alive and got us going a little bit more. And it just came down to us working hard the rest of the game and closing it out for the rest of the game, throughout the rest of the game.
For both of you, can you just maybe take me through when the horn sounds and all of a sudden there's a mad dash to you, Cami? What was kind of going through your mind? Do you remember it?
Well, I'm on the bottom of the pile screaming, "Get off me," because I can't breathe. And then I get up and I have a nosebleed, and I go over to Jackie, and she's like, "You broke your nose." I'm like, "Oh my God." No, I threw my gloves in the air and I tripped and fell. And then I got squished in the bottom of the pile. And yeah, it was just a blur.
I don't know, the last 2 minutes I was kind of grabbing on to the people to the left and right of me, being like, are we really going to do this thing? And then when that last face-off happened, we were all like just ready to go off the bench. Coach was having to pull us back because they needed to drop the puck for the last 2 seconds. And obviously, like, unreal like moment getting to run over Cami, basically, so.
I'm not complaining.
Was that the game that you were expecting? What did you expect to see from Ohio State? And then when you got out there, were things unfolding the way you thought?
I mean, obviously we played them multiple times, but I guess we could have expected like more goals both ways potentially, but obviously it didn't matter. It just came down to who wanted it more and who earned it through the 60 minutes, so.
Yeah, I was probably expecting more goals too. I mean, they're such a talented team. They're really deep. Yeah, I mean, we expected them to come out super strong, that they weren't going to give up, and we just knew we had to weather the storm. So, yeah.
I mean, the reason there weren't more goals was because there might have been a lot more goals. The one save you made that I think should be put into the Hall of Fame was they came across and you take your left foot up and made a phenomenal save. They had a player in alone. It was the save of the game. I thought it was the third one. Kevin, they didn't have a really great chance after that.
Yeah, yeah, that was a 2-on-1, like below the hash marks, and I saw the girl on the left side, out of the corner of my eye, and I knew that the girl who had the puck wasn't going to shoot because it was a good play to pass it. So I was kind of anticipating that, and then I just slid over and hoped that it would hit me, and it did. So yeah.
Kirsten, other than right at the buzzer, maybe the loudest cheer was when Cami was announced as the most valuable player. Can you talk about, as her teammate and why the team sort of was so excited for her and is really behind her and felt that moment for her?
This girl saved us throughout, I don't know how many games this year. I mean, we couldn't have done it without her on the back end. I mean, we're just so happy that she's the one that was in net for us, and she kind of stole the game at times for us and, saved the day, if you could say, throughout the whole season. It's not just this game. It's from September on, and, I mean, it's pretty much all I can say.
Kirsten, it strikes me that we've got a freshman and a fifth-year senior representing the team up here because both of those groups had pretty oversized importances to this team this season. What does that mean to you as a freshman to have such a big role in a game like this, but also to have the veterans be kind of the backbone and contributing a lot too?
I mean, obviously, it's cool to be a freshman in this moment, but we couldn't have done it without leaning on our upperclassmen all year. I mean, they really took us under their wing from the second we walked into Wisco, and they kind of really showed us the way and how to be great teammates and how to look up to everyone, and kind of got us to where we are now.
Kirsten, I'm curious if the penalty shot was helpful for you in being able to score the goal today, is like having that experience and like being in that pressure and knowing where to shoot against Healy, if that came into play here.
I mean, at the actual goal, I kind of blacked out on that shot anyway, so it doesn't really come back to like the shootout, but it definitely helps like getting that experience in those games against Ohio previously, just knowing them, knowing in general, seeing Thiele before, but at the end of the day, it was just one shot that happened to be the one.
Yeah, Kristen, they also talked, Ohio State, they all talked about how they had to get more bodies and touches than that, which is a cliche you could hear on every analysis of every NHL game. That was a beautiful goal. The corner was open, he picked it and shot it. That was not getting pucks and bodies to the net. That was a great goal. You didn't need a lot of shots as long as you hit shots like that.
She does that on me every day in practice.
From your end, you saw that puck, you saw the opening.
No, but I knew when it was on her stick that it was probably going in the net.
Cami, you mentioned looking around at that last timeout. The crowd really kind of amped up over the final minutes. How do you sort of zone in and lock back in afterwards to, save everything for the final couple of minutes there?
Yeah, I try not to look around too much because it's definitely distracting. And I just try to put my head down and repeat the things that I always tell myself to focus on, like being aggressive, competing, reading the play, all that kind of stuff, and just blocking out the noise. Because, the crowd is great, but you can't get too focused on that stuff because like you're in the game. You need to focus on that. So, yeah.
For both the players, what was this game like, the post-game celebration, like having the crowd that you guys had here today supporting you, coming up here to Duluth, jump around, playing after winning the national championship? Like, can you put into words what the moment and the atmosphere was like in Duluth today?
No.
That's what a Badger gets.
Yeah, we're
that's being
so
a Badger
lucky.
right there.
We're the luckiest people in the world to have the fans and the community that support us the way that they do. And, this is so special because the last time we did it, we were in Erie and there was nobody there, just our families. So to have people driving up, flying in, we're so spoiled. We're so lucky that there's so many people that care about us and root for us. So, yeah, just something I'll cherish forever.
Sorry, I'm a little bit ignorant on this, but what is the deal with Jump Around?
That's like our song.
Sorry.
Come on down Saturday afternoon, right when the third quarter ends at a football game. You'll get the true experience.
Anything else for the student athletes?
You guys talked about the WCHA as a whole. I think we all kind of knew that one of the schools from the WCHA was going to win this thing, but how it prepares you for the postseason?
Obviously, it's probably the top league in NCAA, and so getting to play against those teams 4 times a year, going into this tournament a few more times, like in the playoffs or WCHAs too, definitely gets us ready to know what we're going to see walking into here, and kind of gets us playing like a more aggressive and faster style game. So we're ready to go when we walk into playoffs, no matter what team we're coming up against.
All right, Kristen, Cami, thank you. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions for Coach?
Mark, I feel like I ask you this a lot, but can you compare this one to other ones? It seems like this one had to be more difficult. Just in the number of games you had to win to get it done, but you had to beat the number 3, the number 2, the number 1 to get here. Can you give it some perspective, context here?
Well, I think if you talk to Jackie and Dan Greeny, my assistants, excuse me, this probably has been most challenging. And I say that for, a couple of reasons. The environment we are in, in collegiate athletics, presents challenges for coaches at all different schools and all different sports with, the NIL and the transfer portal. So, what we like to do as far as teaching the game, mentoring the athletes that are in front of us, and, working with them for 4 or 5 years and then sending them out in the world, with good experiences in their specific sport, but more importantly, as mature young adults and my females going out in the world and, making a difference wherever they go. And, with the rules that we're navigating through with right now, team chemistry, getting everybody on the same page, trying to keep everybody happy, it just becomes more challenging. And it's just this new space we're in, and we're trying to work through it. And as I mentioned in my opening statements, that this one was the toughest just from being in that space, because so. But yeah, you can't. I don't compare them because everyone's unique, everyone's different, everyone's special. Some are. None of them are easy, and so certain people have to step up. And the biggest thing I've learned, even in some of the games that we've been in that we've lost in the championship, we were up here, lost to Minnesota 4-2 in a championship game. The best chance you can give yourself to win these things is to get everybody on the same page. And so we started in September. This year we had 9 or 10 different players that weren't on our team last year, with our freshmen coming in and the kids coming back that were part of the national team for a while, and a couple kids that were on the Olympic team. And then you bring Jessie in, someone that was at BU for 4 years, and now she's coming in. So as I mentioned the other day, that the toughest thing we were going to deal with is team chemistry and get everybody on the same page. And so knowing, in years past that, you go through different stages and different phases in a season, and being in I call it a storming stage, it's healthy. It's not fun to go through. But if you've experienced as a coach, it's a process that you have to deal with. And the big thing is the players got to get an understanding of what they want to do, and understand that if everybody accepts their role and goes out every day in practice and every day in a game and gives 100%, whatever that role is. It might be a minor role. Cami lived it for 4 years, because you never know when your opportunities come. And so we're playing Mankato, and we're about 10 minutes from dropping the puck, and Natalie Bookbinder gets a season-ending injury. You can break pretty quick. You're going on the ice trying to figure out how to win a hockey game, knowing your best friend and one of our team captains is going to be out for the year, and everybody's feeling horrible for her. And so, it's this process that you go through. And, probably, the weekend before we went to Minnesota, I had a good heart-to-heart talk with our team. In fact, I had 2 meetings with them. And, you get this short window, and we were, at the end of the season, we're going to Minnesota, then we're getting Ohio State, we're going to find out about ourselves, then we're going to the playoffs. And it's like, we're capable of playing at a real high level. We just got to figure out in this locker room what you want to do. Do you want to get on the same page? Do you want to be in the same boat, pushing in the same direction? If you're willing to do that, you have a chance. No guarantees at the end that I'm going to win it, but you give yourself the best opportunity. And, we went up to Minnesota and we played 2 fantastic games against, one of the top teams in the country in their building in front of record crowds. And so now we come away from that, and the players, they get an understanding of what they're capable of doing. They're seeing it just like I'm seeing it. And now they start to buy into it a little bit more. And then, we play Ohio State, and the first night, Sims goes in overtime, and we walk out of the rink feeling great. We come back the next night, we're up 1-0, just like today's game, and they get a power play with 4 minutes to go and score, and then they score the last minute of the game to end up winning it. So as painful as that was, because they ended up winning the league championship on our ice, brought the trophy out there. And so what are you going to learn from that? Well, now it's 1-0. There's 4 minutes to go in the national championship game. So I like the trophy we got.
Mark, Ohio State got off to a great start in that first period, and then second and third period really things kind of evened out. What did you think your team was doing better that really kind of neutralized, what the Buckeyes were doing?
Well, there was, some specific things that, we talked about, what you need to do. And I just related it to, capture the flag. I don't know if anybody's played capture the flag before. So you just put that flag right in that blue paint in our crease and say, don't let them get there. Don't let them get our flag. Meaning that, we're going to bend. They're a very good team, one of the highest scoring teams in the country. And so if you're going to have a chance in this game, my thought was I need to get to at least the first media timeout, either at 0-0 or ahead. And then you get there, and then I need to get to the second one in the same scenario. And then when Sims scores, that puts us in a better position. And so, they're going to push. And that's, we got to the first media timeout in the third period, and they had pushed us for about 2 minutes. And it's just my ability just to relate to the players, hey, you don't think they're going to push? They're defending championships. They're going to push you. You just got to be able to communicate, and you got to be able to make sure that they don't give up any really high-quality scoring opportunities. And so we did that a little bit, and then your goaltender's going to have to make some saves. And when we bent a little bit, Cami came up and kept the puck out of the net, and by doing that, it builds confidence, and then the game settles in. And so they're a proud team. They're going to come at you. It's not going to be an easy tilt, but we got to the finish line. So having the painful experience in Madison not too long ago, as far as being up 1-0, helped us this afternoon.
Mark, can you describe what it's like to watch your team celebrate like that at the end of the last game, national champs, with everything that you had to deal with, this team had to deal with, the ups and downs, the adversity through, September until now?
Yeah, it's very rewarding, because I see firsthand, them on a daily basis. Obviously, our relationships are strong and personal. So, you look at different individuals, and Cami, who was sitting to my right here earlier, you're just excited about, what she went through, and not knowing that I may never get a chance. I don't know. And so she got her opportunity. She was prepared for her opportunity. Jessie Comfort, took a little bit of a risk. She could have gone anywhere in the country to play this year. She chose us because she wanted to put herself in a position to maybe go after a national championship. So I looked at her, hugging her parents. I saw her on the ice when her brother won the Stanley Cup, and she had this unique smile on. And I saw it again this afternoon when she's out there hugging her parents, that unique smile. No different than when I was on the ice in Minnesota when my dad won the Stanley Cup. It's a smile that's special. And, to see my players, have that. And to me, it's giving them an experience that, they had today, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they're going to appreciate it way more than they do today. And as much as they appreciate it, they don't realize how challenging and difficult it is. So to me, it's not about me. It's about providing an opportunity for these young ladies that I get to teach and I mentor. And so that's the excitement I get. So I may not look like I'm excited. I'm just trying to process right now through exactly what happened in the last 2.5 hours, because I'm not sure. So we get so wrapped up in a cocoon, and you're so dialed in, and there's not many distractions out here, and then it's all over. And other than I'm freezing and shaking, you process. So the next couple of days we'll process and that, but I look at it no different than the other ones, where these kids, they commit themselves, they have to sacrifice big time, but they're good kids. They do well in the classroom. They're good citizens. And I get that from different people, like the people that took care of us at the hotel and fed us all along. They make a comment, hey, your kids are really nice, they're polite, and they go around their business, the right way. And that's, another area that, Jackie and Dan and myself and everybody that's associated with our staff and athletic department, that's what we're really proud of. And then to see them get rewarded for all their commitment and understanding that I can put both feet here, I can commit to doing that. I get an understanding of what it takes to be a good teammate, not knowing that if I do all this, I might not get, the prize I want at the end. But when I do get the prize at the end, now I've learned a life lesson. So as these kids leave us, as Cami leaves us, she'll be able to go back into her community wherever she ends up and relate to the experience and what was important to her here at Wisconsin.
Can you talk a little about Ohio State's rise over the past few years and now kind of with a new rink on the horizon, what it's going to be like to have another sort of perennial contender?
I'd probably just like to talk about the Badgers today. No, it's that somebody asked about our league. I mean, our league is obviously very strong. Women's hockey is very strong. You look around the country and, you see some new growth with some leagues. I played one of my former players, Kelly Nash, in our first playoff game, and it's just fun to see, kids that were part of our program now giving back to the game of hockey. So it continues to grow, it continues to expand, and the people that watched the game Friday, with us in Minnesota, I mean, they got treated to something that was special. So if that was their first game that they ever watched Division I women's hockey, it's like, whoa, these young ladies are really good. And then, national championship game again this afternoon. So we're in a good space. We're in a real positive direction and hope it continues to grow. I mean, we were fortunate this year, again, through our athletic department, the people that behind the scenes did a great job. We played a game against St. Cloud in front of over 14,000 people this year. And so, again, those were one of those experiences that, the kids on St. Cloud and ourselves, we don't get that often. And so it's one of those things that, 5-10 years from now, they'll talk and look back and say, yeah, we played in front of over 14,000 people one night. So those are the things that we like to try to provide to our athletes. And, our league, as many people have said, it's been the deepest and the strongest it's ever been. I mean, you look at what John did in Mankato and continues to do. I mean, very strong team. And, Idle came back into our league and had an outstanding season, at St. Cloud. And as you mentioned earlier, I mean, part of the process for me is, trying to figure out how we beat Colgate, number 3 team in the country, high scoring. Then we got Minnesota, the highest scoring team, number 2 in the country, and then we finished it off this afternoon with the number 1 team in the country and the defending national championship. So that's part of my process, but that's a tough task for anybody. And we got to the finish line, and part of it was mentioned with Sims talking about our league. You take the last 6-8 games we played. We played at Minnesota, we had Ohio State, we played John's team in Mankato, which wasn't easy. Then we played Minnesota again. Then we played Kelly's team. Then we played Colgate at Colgate, played Minnesota, played Ohio State. So you put all that together. If you're not playing at a real high level, then I'm probably watching the game this afternoon.
Mark, you had 5 seniors who have been part of 3 championship teams. I just wanted to get your thoughts on kind of, what they've given this program and kind of what stands out to you about the impact they've had the last few years.
Well, I think each of them, they've given a lot. I mean, people have seen, what they've done on the ice if they've watched us play and their contributions they've made to, their teammates and mentoring and things that they learned early on in their careers and handed down to the next generation that came in. But what impresses me about, the different groups we've had, and it's been pretty consistent. I mean, they learned that the community that they play in front of is well supported, and I can't thank our fans enough. John, you're probably the only one that remembers the '81 backdoor Badgers that came up here and beat Minnesota with Neil and Aaron Broughton and Butsy Erickson.
Bob was on, your dad was on top of the car,
Yeah.
and the police just blocked off the whole block and gave it to him.
Yep. And so as I was coming to the game, I was thinking about that because everybody had written them off. And loaded up Minnesota was that year. I had 2 of my former teammates, Neil on the '80 Olympic team, and then I roamed with Aaron for 5 years in New Jersey. So he figured out a plan, and they ended up beating the Gophers and winning the national championship. It was a total surprise, but it's.
You're gonna go downtown and jump on the car?
No, I don't think I'll be doing that. You know what I'm going to do, though? I'm going to grab the trophy tomorrow, and then I'm taking over to sit down with my mom and get a picture with my mom, because you're not doing real well. And so it's something that I'll be able to have with me for a long period of time, because she was a big part of my dad and coaching and part of the Badger legacy with her cowbell at the Coliseum, and a lot of people still talk about that. So in the back of my mind, it says, if we win this thing, I'm gonna grab that trophy and go sit down with her, and she'll have a big smile on her face. Yeah.
Mark, you've done a lot of Frozen Fours. It's been a while since Duluth hosted one here. What'd you think of the experience for you and the team and the student athletes this week?
It was good. You know, you never know who's going to get here. You know, if the home team's here, obviously the interest and the attendance is probably a little bit higher. But the next best thing is you got Minnesota in it and you got Wisconsin in it. And if somebody, you know, sets up that game, which we had the other night, you're going to get a good crowd. And then obviously with it, you know, being close to Wisconsin and having ties, you know, in Minnesota with families and people and friends. You know, when my son was in Arizona, he changed his flight, got back to Minneapolis, got my 3 grandkids, and they made it over today. So I thought the atmosphere was good. And when they played jump around, man, it doesn't get any better than that. That was awesome.
You mentioned, you talked about your seniors, but Britta is 10-0 in the NCAA tournament games in her career. She didn't play last year, 19, 21, 23 champions. Can you talk about what she's done this season, just as a leader, as the person that, you know, you rely on in the room to be the one that's kind of in charge when you're not? That she's got stuff to do there.
Yeah, she's a real good captain, and I say that because she's a real good person. Obviously, you've seen enough of her hockey-wise, what she does as far as, you know, blocking shots when we need to, chipping a puck out, getting a puck deep. But she's just a real solid person. And, you know, when I was hugging her on the ice after, I mean, a lot of people, you know, her is one, and I'm the other, know how hard it was. And for her, it was probably harder as far as getting to the finish line and winning the prize. Because she's the leader. She's the one you rely on. You know, we had multiple meetings as we went throughout the year, trying to get a pulse on things. And, you know, it can be really challenging to be a captain because most of the captains that I deal with, it's like you just need to be yourself. You don't need to be anything else than who you are. You know, so whether that was Duggan, whether that was Decker, just be who you are. Because that's why people respect you, and that's why, you know, they voted for you to be a captain. And I think the way she conducts herself, you know, both on and off the ice, her work habits, just provides this ooziness about leadership. And she does things the right way. She takes care of herself, and so those are the kids that you're really happy for because they put a lot of time and energy, not only in what they're doing on the ice, but, you know, managing and getting the younger kids to understand what the expectations are within our program.
We'll take one more if anybody's got anything for Coach.
But your defense played phenomenally today, but the forwards coming back also, you really prevented them from getting a lot of influence shots, long shots. They had to shoot from everywhere because they couldn't shoot from inside. And I don't know how you did it for that defense, but you got the right people on the ice at the right time, and they disrupted everything.
Yeah, it's being connected. And if you ever played capture the flag and you want to win, don't let them get your flag. They didn't get our flag today. Hey? Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, part of the process is, you know, having some bumps along the way. And so, you know, last time we played, you know, Ohio, you know, we gave up the game in the last 3.5 minutes of it. We had it won, places packed. You know, the Gophers are going to end up winning the, you know, league championship because Ohio State's going to lose. And then, you know, they're a proud team, and they found a way to beat us. But again, you put in the back of your mind, and, you know, if that scenario presents itself, how are you going to react? So at the under 5 media timeout, you know, I don't usually pull out the chalkboard. I pulled out the chalkboard and said, hey, if they pull their goalie, here's what we need to do. Can we execute it? Did we learn from our last time? And so the lesson, as hard as it was, you know, that Sunday afternoon in Madison, watching them, you know, take a trophy on our ice, it paid dividends this afternoon.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Congrats.
Thank you.